Student debt is a hell of a motivator. The very recent Aubrey Plaza starring film slipped under a lot of people's radar, at least judging by the box office returns. The movie only made a meager $2.2 million at the box office during its run, barely more than the $2 million the film cost to make. However, the movie was highly acclaimed by those who actually saw it. The film follows the titular Emily. She is drowning in student debt and needs to make some money fast. However, her past criminal record is preventing her from getting any meaningful employment. In a desperate move, she joins a credit card scam being run by an underground criminal organization. This starts her on her descent into the vast network of gangsters and other lawbreakers. The movie features a career highlight performance from Plaza, who in recent years has grown far beyond her old Parks and Rec role. Sadly, this isn't the only David Fincher film on this list, but Zodiac is easily one of his best. The true story of the manhunt for the infamous serial killer, the Fincher film is a masterpiece of tension, style, and tone, featuring amazing performances from Jake Gyllenhaal, Mark Ruffalo, and even Robert Downey Jr. The movie follows the reporters and detectives who ended up at the center of the Zodiac killer's nightmarish crime spree during the summers of 1968 and 69. Full of heavily researched details and moments of pure dread, Zodiac was highly acclaimed during its original run, and even today. However, praise doesn't always mean money, and the slow and tense 2.5-hour thriller didn't find a big audience at the theaters. It made only $84 million against its reported budget of $65 million. Still, it was another cap in the hat of master director David Fincher. This 1981 thriller is well known amongst cinephiles. The film tells the story of Jack Terry, played by John Travolta. He's a sound engineer for Hollywood, who in the course of his duties accidentally records the key evidence in a political assassination. A full-on neo-noir, this tense and dark thriller was praised by critics, but snubbed by audiences. Grossing only $13 million against its $18 million budget, it was a certified flop for the director. His next film would give him far more success, however, mostly because it had Al Pacino giving a performance that would influence hip-hop for generations. If Sam Raimi is known for anything, it's not exactly for doing anything subtle. The Evil Dead and Spider-Man director has long been known for over-the-top gore and zany performances by people like Willem Dafoe and Bruce Campbell. However, Raimi is a man of many talents and did spend most of his career hanging out with the Coen brothers. 1998's A Simple Plan takes a lot from his filmmaking friends. This is a very un-Raimi-like film, following three working-class friends who end up discovering a crashed plane in the woods. Finding an absurd amount of cash, they make a simple plan to keep it. Things don't turn out simple, however, and pretty soon the money's owners come looking for it. Featuring amazing performances from Billy Bob Thornton, the late great Bill Paxton, and the criminally underappreciated Brent Briscoe, this exquisitely shot tale of greed and regret failed to capture Spider-Man levels of money when it only made $16 million against its budget of $30 million. Raimi did just fine since with his Spider-Man trilogy, however, he was forced to leave subtle back in the 90s. The Wachowski sisters are easily best known today for their breakout 1999 cyberpunk kung fu mindbender, The Matrix. However, that certified money printer wasn't their first film. When the pair initially set out to make movies, their first feature was the tense LGBTQ thriller Bound. Starring Jennifer Tilly, Gina Gershon, and Joey Pants, this neo-noir told the story of two women who fall in love and rob the mafia. The movie features the same style and directorial flair that would spell success 3 years later. However, this film failed to make its money back. The movie only grossed $7 million over the course of its worldwide run. That, coupled with the movie's $6 million budget, meant that Bound was a financial failure. Snake Eyes is the 1998 film starring everyone's favorite scream machine Nicolas Cage, this time in a very bad shirt. He plays a corrupt police detective who finds himself at the center of a conspiracy involving taking out the defense secretary. Taking place all in one night, the movie features fluid camera work and a center stage performance from Cage. However, even the director's pedigree at the time didn't spell financial success, as the movie only made $104 million against a reported $73 million budget. That sounds like a success, but given the more than double cost for marketing expected in a major movie, it was a huge loss for the studio. Running Scared is the grimy and stylized thriller about Walker's low-ranking gangster who finds himself in a race against time to retrieve the gun used in a cop's death. He has to navigate the seedy underbelly of a destitute city in one night. Running Scared features inventive camera work, crazy plot turns, and a standout performance from Walker. The movie, while fun and inventive, didn't do well with critics and audiences at the time, earning only $9.4 million worldwide against a budget nearly double that at $15 million. Still, the movie is a cult hit and an underrated breakneck thriller. Park Chan-wook is the South Korean master of tension and horror who brought us the modern fable that is Oldboy. He's long been known as a great director in his home nation. However, his single trip to Hollywood wasn't as successful. Stoker is the 2013 English language debut from the filmmaker. The movie is about 18-year-old India Stoker, an enigmatic girl whose life changes drastically after the unexpected death of her father. Her mysterious uncle moves in and things begin to take a deadly turn. The movie is more about atmosphere and symbolism than it is about the plot, however, which is almost always a recipe for box office poison. The film barely broke even at $12 million. Twin Peaks was the hottest piece of television around when it debuted in 1990. However, by the time of its early cancellation in 1991, the show had seen viewership fall drastically. The series was even left on a brutal cliffhanger. So, when people heard that series creator and notorious filmmaking weirdo David Lynch was making a movie, there was some hope of a resolution. Those hopes were dashed when everyone learned it was a prequel. Telling the story of Laura Palmer and the events leading to her untimely end, Fire Walk With Me is much more than that. However, the director's bizarre style and failure to follow up on the cliffhanger ending meant box office failure. The movie only made $4.1 million against a $10 million budget. This one's almost as shocking as the movie's infamous twist. Fight Club is the seminal work by David Fincher. Starring Brad Pitt and Edward Norton, the tale of a man's descent into madness and terrorism is now remembered as one of the best films of the decade. However, audiences at the time were more lukewarm on the movie. Critics weren't kind either, with Roger Ebert famously giving the movie a low score. Still, Fight Club has one of cinema's best twists and its single best use of any song by the Pixies.
You met me at a very strange time in my life.